Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, we ask that we begin to settle down. If we can, please take your seats, so at least make sure that you're near your seat so that when the call is made for us to receive our guest of honor, we will be able to take our seats immediately. So please, make sure they are seated already, or at least you're near where you're supposed to sit, so that we will be able to respond. And just to remind you, I believe this announcement was made a little earlier in the day, when the Vice President makes her way in, when we let you know, when the signal is made that she's coming in, we'll be asked to stand to receive her until she gets to her chair on the platform, on the stage. We will start with the anthems, that's of the African Union and the Zambia National Anthem. The African Union Anthem will be played over the PA system. And I believe the Zambia National Anthem will be sung today by Trina, and she will do it in a special way. And you will see it when that time comes. So we have the African Union Anthem, which will be played, and then Trina will sing the Zambia National Anthem. Then we'll have a word of prayer, after which we will maybe take our seats, or perhaps I'll let you know what will follow immediately after that. So let's just bear that in mind. And one more time, please, let's begin to take our seats and settle down as we await the arrival of the Vice President. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we please rise? I'd like to welcome our honorable ministers and other dignitaries. Perhaps we can take our seats for a few seconds until our guest of honor, the Vice President herself, makes her way in. Thank you. No, it was not a drill. It was... All right, ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, our honor, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Nalumango, MP. We will remain standing as we have the two anthems, starting with the AU anthem. It will be followed by the Zambian national anthem, which will be sung by Trina. The AU anthem will be played over the PA system. The Zambian National Anthem to be led by Trina, after which we'll have a word of prayer from Mr. Simon.
Zikola chimwemwe ndi
Mr. Simoga will now lead us in the opening prayer.
Shall we bow our heads as we pray? We come before you, our Heavenly Father, with our humble hearts, even as we want to get in the segment of this afternoon session. We recognize the importance of this gathering and the significance of the dignitaries that are involved this afternoon. We ask for your guidance, we ask for your wisdom and discernment to be present throughout the entire meeting. We pray for your divine intervention, Lord, that you open doors for innovative ideas, strategies, and partnership to be formed during this meeting, that at the end of it all, the entire African continent will be able to commit itself to eradicating hunger and many issues that are affecting us. We pray that, Father, your presence be felt in this meeting this afternoon, for we pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that we remain standing as we observe a moment of silence in honor of the late former Speaker of the Republic of Zambia, Amusa Katunda Mwanamwambwa, who died on the 21st of October 2023 and is being laid to rest as we speak today. A moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. I honor the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Mrs. W.K. Mutale-Nalumangwa, MP. Honorable Ruben Mutolo, MP, Minister of Agriculture. Honorable Makosa Chikote, MP, Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. Honorable Ministers representing African Union member states. Her Excellency, Ambassador Josefa Leonel Correa Sacco, African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy, and Sustainable Environment. Her Excellency, Ambassador Minata Samate Sesuma, African Union Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs, and Social Development. Her Excellency, Ms. Nados Bekele Thomas, Chief Executive Officer of the African Union Development Agency and NEPAD, represented by Mrs. Esterine Lisinge Fotabong, Director of UAUDA NEPAD. Honorable members of Parliament from African Union member states here present, Dr. Abebe Haile, Assistant Director General and Regional Representative for Africa, the Food and Agriculture Organization, Mr. Stanlake Samkange, outgoing chair of the CAADP Development Partners Coordination Group, permanent secretaries and other senior government officials present from Zambia and other African countries here with us, regional economic community executives in attendance, representatives of development partners and donors, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, representatives of the private sector, academia and research institutions, civil society organizations, farmer associations, youth associations, the media, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon to you all. That's much better. And welcome to the official opening ceremony of the Africa Day on Food and Nutrition Security ADFNS high-level segment here, and we are privileged to have among us Harana, the Vice President, Mrs. Nalumango. Welcome, ma'am. We know you have had a very busy day, but we are happy that you indeed insisted on coming to be with us this afternoon. We are most grateful. My name is Padi Mugando, and I'm Master of Ceremonies for this event here. Before we go into any of the speeches that have been lined up for this afternoon, we have a gentleman by the name of Matthew Tembo, who has a performance that he would like to share with us at this moment. Mr. Matthew Tembo, some of you heard him a little earlier in the day when he gave us one piece. Well, we'll ask him to come now and give us another piece from his collection, after which we will go on to invite those that have been assigned to address us this afternoon. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Matthew Tembo.
Good afternoon again. I'm so excited to perform before the Vice President, but also before everybody else here. I'm going to play a song called Mpalamamba. It's in Senga. I'm Senga by ethnicity from the eastern part of Zambia. And Mpalamamba means cleanse me. So it's like a prayer. I like prayer. I like meditation. So this one means cleanse me so I can do right before myself, before God, but also before the next person. Koko nafuma pamdarada pamama na tata Jehova na papata Zambike nkonini Hodi kuno koko nafuma pamdarada hapo pamama na tata Jehova na papata Zambike nkonini Palamamba, palamamba, palamamba. Palamamba, 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 mama. Palamamba, palamamba, palamamba. Palamamba, 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 mama. Maya tatandende charo ichincha masuzyo umuntu katishe nganganga, mulungu mkatishe nganganga, kupepa usale pele, Jehova na papata, Zambike nkunini. Mauya tata ndendende, charo ichincha masuzyo, umuntu katishe nganganga, mulungu mkatishe nganganga, kupempa usale pele, Jehova na papata, Zambike nkunini. Palamamba, palamamba, palamamba. Palamamba, 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 mama. Palamamba, palamamba, palamamba. Palamamba, 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 mama. Thank you.
I would want to claim that sound as Zambian, but I know that it belongs to a greater part of the African continent as well. That's a true African sound, the African piano, I believe it's called. And we thank Mr. Tembo, Mr. Matthew Tembo, for that piece. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here indeed to gather together from across the African Union, across the continent, to put our heads and our minds together as we deliberate over issues of agriculture and nutrition on this continent. And as indeed we are happy, I'm sure all of us are happy and appreciative of the presence of the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, we'll now go into inviting the people that have been assigned to address us, starting with Her Excellency, Ambassador Minata Samate Sesuma, the African Union Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs, and Social Development. Let's put our hands together for Her Excellency as she comes down here to give us her remarks.
Merci beaucoup, maître de cérémonie. Excellence, Madame la vice-présidente, je vais aller en français. Est-ce que vous pouvez donner un écouteur à son Excellence, s'il vous plaît? Avec mes excuses, c'est pour ça, Madame la vice-présidente, je crois qu'on doit adopter une langue de travail qui soit Swahili. It's important for us to speak one language, but the best one is Kiswahili. But my Kiswahili is so poor, I don't know if I can proceed in Kiswahili. I don't know if I can go because my speech is in French. I can go in English, but you will have problem with your, because I won't speak good English. I prefer to go in French because my English is poor. Excellence, sorry. Protocol, can you help? No? Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. For ministers also. Je suis désolée, Madame la vice-présidente. Excellence, Madame Mutukale Nalumango, vice-présidente de la République de Zambie, honorable ministre au podium, distingués ministres participants à la présente commémoration. Nous avons avec nous, Madame la Présidente, beaucoup de partenaires, je ne pourrais pas tous les citer, mais on a avec nous notre ami Stanlake Samkanj qui est avec nous. C'est un partenaire privilégié pour moi et on a le système des Nations Unies avec nous. Je dirais tout protocole dûment respecté parce que le MC a déjà listé tous les participants. Par souci de temps, je vais aller directement. Je voudrais, Madame la vice-présidente, vous présenter nos sincères condoléances. Condoléances pour le décès du président du Parlement, l'ancien président qui nous a quittés. Et je vous présente au nom de tous les participants, à vous et à son Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République, et à l'ensemble du gouvernement et à la famille du défunt, nos condoléances les plus attristées. Puisse son âme reposer auprès de son Seigneur et solidarité et compassion dans cette douloureuse épreuve divine. C'est un privilège pour moi, mesdames et messieurs, d'être parmi vous pour commémorer la 4e journée africaine pour la sécurité alimentaire et nutritionnelle et la 19e plateforme de partenariat du programme détaillé pour le développement de l'agriculture africaine PDDA. Permettez-moi, Madame la vice-présidente, de vous remercier, de vous exprimer ma profonde gratitude à vous-même et au gouvernement de la République de Zambie pour avoir accepté d'abriter notre cérémonie d'aujourd'hui. Il s'agit, au-delà de la commémoration, de tirer les leçons du chemin déjà parcouru, les défis qui nous restent et surtout aussi être avec vous, Madame la vice-présidente, partager l'expérience de votre pays, la Zambie. Je me souviens comme si c'était hier, nous étions à Abidjan en décembre dernier. Nous avons échangé sur ce que votre pays fait et surtout votre engagement à nous accueillir aujourd'hui. Je tiens à vous demander d'applaudir parce que Madame la vice-présidente a tenu et nous sommes là. Merci beaucoup à vous, Madame. L'organisation, mesdames et messieurs, de cette journée sous le thème « Accélérer la mise en œuvre de l'accord sur la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine dans le contexte du PDA en faveur d'une alimentation qui soit sûre et plus saine ». Je dirais que cela arrive au bon moment parce que l'Afrique, nous avons de sérieuses difficultés sur les causes de la sécurité, de l'insécurité alimentaire sur le continent. Et nous avons cet important programme avec l'horizon 2025 qui est déjà demain. Et nous allons réfléchir sur les réalisations et depuis hier, nos collaborateurs et nos partenaires et amis ont réfléchi sur cette question. J'ai eu la chance de les écouter cet après-midi et ce matin, comment nous pouvons relever les défis et justement arriver à atteindre l'objectif de Malabo et au-delà de Malabo. La Commission de l'Union africaine, les chefs d'État et de gouvernement ont réfléchi durant l'année 2022 sur cette problématique et des engagements ont été pris pour éradiquer la faim, la malnutrition et assurer la sécurité. C'est en droite ligne d'ailleurs de l'agenda 2063 qui est avec l'objectif 1 qui parle de populations qui soient en bonne santé et bien nourries. Il y a eu une étude qui a été menée sur le coût de la faim. Cela montre que nous n'avons pas suffisamment fait. Il nous faut aller au-delà de ce qui a été fait si nous voulons vraiment nous développer parce que ventre affamé n'a point d'oreille. Madame la vice-présidente, je ne lirai pas tout mon discours, mais Les participants ont beaucoup dit ce matin et hier j'ai écouté, mais l'accord de libre-échange continental est une chance pour nous. Africains, il nous offre la possibilité d'aller vers la croissance économique, l'intégration africaine, renforcer le commerce intra-africain, améliorer la situation nutritionnelle, le transport et faciliter l'accès aux produits alimentaires, ce qui n'est pas le cas actuellement, et à un coût moins cher, abordable à nous tous, et de l'alimentation de qualité. Et si on fait quelque chose dans ce sens, on pourra attirer les investisseurs et faire ce qu'il nous faut pour mettre fin à la malnutrition. Pourquoi je dis habituellement, nous pouvons le faire, et vous l'avez dit, Madame la vice-présidente, lorsqu'on vous a rencontré, l'Afrique peut faire. On a suffisamment pour faire. On a de l'eau. Pourquoi on n'arrive pas à produire? On a des terres, on n'arrive pas. On a des phosphates et nous avons la jeunesse qui peut aller vers l'agriculture. Il nous faut travailler justement avec ces facteurs si nous voulons augmenter la production agricole sur le continent africain. Depuis ce matin, comme je le disais, beaucoup de choses ont dit, mais je voudrais insister sur 2 ou 3 aspects. Le changement climatique, vous avez tous vu ce qui s'est passé en Libye, ce qui s'est passé au Malawi, j'y étais. Mais les changements climatiques nous créent aujourd'hui de sérieux problèmes. Si nous voulons changer la donne, nous devons investir et minimiser l'impact des changements climatiques sur le continent. J'ajouterai aussi comme deuxième élément la situation humanitaire sur le continent africain. Il nous faut une approche qui soit souple, qui soit globale, si nous voulons mettre fin aux déplacements forcés, et aussi ceux qui se déplacent n'arrivent plus à travailler. Il nous faut travailler pour finir avec les conflits. Cela est notre portée. Ceux qui se battent en Afrique, ce ne sont pas d'autres, c'est nous-mêmes qui sommes à la source de nos conflits. On peut finir avec ça. Je citerai aujourd'hui le Sahel. Je viens du Sahel. Les populations sont déplacées, elles ne peuvent plus cultiver et cela crée énormément de problèmes. J'ai déjà cité les catastrophes naturelles. Si ce n'est pas des inondations, on a la sécheresse. Et toutes ces crises, si nous ne trouvons pas de solution, il nous sera difficile d'atteindre nos objectifs. J'ai écouté, c'est une question qui n'a pas été suffisamment prise en charge au niveau des participants. Je voudrais aussi, comme troisième chose, Madame la vice-présidente, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, distingués participants, la question de la libre circulation des personnes et des biens et le droit d'établissement. Oui, on parle de zone de libre-échange. Comment nous aurons cette zone de libre-échange si les populations ne peuvent pas se déplacer? On a beau avoir de la nourriture, si la nourriture ne peut pas circuler à l'intérieur d'un même pays, d'une frontière à une autre, nous n'aurons pas atteint nos objectifs. Nous avons la chance d'avoir les parlementaires. Je disais à une modératrice, ma sœur, elle disait qu'on n'a pas suffisamment parlé du rôle des parlements. Moi, je parlerai, les parlementaires ont un important rôle à jouer justement pour nous permettre d'atteindre nos objectifs. On a la libre circulation. J'ai eu l'occasion d'aller devant le Parlement à plusieurs reprises, votre Parlement, pour sensibiliser comment on peut avoir 15 ratifications pour permettre la libre circulation des personnes et des biens, du droit d'établissement. Mais malheureusement, ce protocole excellence, nous n'avons que 3 pays qui ont ratifié. Je compte sur vous, parlementaires, pour qu'on puisse ratifier ce protocole pour compléter justement la zone de libre-échange et la circulation de la nourriture. Nous n'avons besoin que de 15 ratifications, comme je le disais, nous n'avons que 4. Et les parlementaires que vous êtes, vous pouvez jouer un grand rôle. Nous étions à Maseru avec vous, parlementaires, où le champion, qui est Sa Majesté le roi Letsi III du Lesotho, après un engagement, vous êtes engagé à soutenir cette cause. Je vous encourage, je vous ai écouté, à continuer dans cette dynamique. Je parlerai pour terminer le rôle du secteur privé, de nos partenaires. Merci aux partenaires qui sont avec nous, je ne saurais les citer tous. Je vous exhorte à aller à l'action. Madame la vice-présidente, nous avons la chance de vous avoir au niveau du gouvernement, au niveau des ministres, de nos États membres, le secteur privé, les partenaires. C'est ensemble qu'on pourra aller à l'action si nous voulons atteindre nos objectifs. J'ai écouté ce matin, Madame la vice-présidente, ce qui est ressorti, il faut aller à l'action. L'action, parce que J'ai suivi, il n'y a que 3 pays ou 4 pays qui ont pu atteindre quand même des objectifs en la matière. Il nous faut aller au-delà des pays que nous avons suivis. Ils ont eu des prix, le Rwanda, le Royaume du Maroc, le Mali et Djibouti, mais cela n'est pas suffisant. Si nous voulons encore avoir d'autres pays qui aient des résultats dans le domaine de la nutrition, mettre fin à la malnutrition et la famine, tous les pays doivent s'engager. Et nous, de notre côté, en qualité de leadership de l'Union africaine, nous avons nos collaborateurs avec nous des 2 départements, le département en charge de l'agriculture et notre département. Commencé par le président, nous sommes engagés et nous restons à votre entière disposition pour nous accompagner. C'est ensemble qu'on pourra atteindre l'autosuffisance alimentaire et aller au-delà de la déclaration de Malabo. Merci beaucoup et je vous remercie tous pour votre aimable attention.
I'll ask that you keep the translation units on your ears. I'd like to respond in some French as well to Her Excellency's address. Merci beaucoup. Oui, thank you. That was Ambassador, Her Excellency, Ambassador Minata Samate Sesuma, the AU Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to invite the Honorable Ruben Mutolo, MP, Minister of Agriculture of the Government of the Republic of Zambia, to also come and give his remarks. And he will then go on to invite our honor, the Vice President, to address us. Let's put our hands together for Honorable Ruben Mutolo.
I honor the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Mrs. W.K. Mutale Nalumango, all the excellencies present here, cabinet ministers present here, cooperating partners. Allow me, Madam, to simply say, all who are here, you are most welcome, and it is nice that you are back here in Zambia. For those who are coming for the first time, we are absolutely delighted to have you here. Let me not also forget my colleagues in front here who make the world know on what is happening in the world. Thank you too to the musician who gave us some good entertainment. It is an honor for me really to be given this chance to raise the Vice President to give us a keynote address. Before I do that, however, you allow me, Madam, just to say 1 or 2 things, very short. And I would like the audience not to worry about the speech because I will not go through it. Let me join everyone else who has welcomed this lovely group that is here. It's just amazing how at short notice, good planning, we can gather and try to solve the problems for Africa. Dear colleagues, you are absolutely welcome to Zambia, our lovely country. And Honorable Vice President, it is my hope that the program allows that the colleagues in here will have a bit of time to spend a little bit of extra time in Zambia, go to see the mighty Victoria Falls, go to see the beautiful South Ruangwa National Park, and many more interesting aspects that Zambia has to offer. You are most welcome. Please do not go back without seeing the Victoria Falls. It will actually be a crime for you to do that. We are here today really to look at how we can kill hunger in Africa and the world over. We are here today on how we can reduce poverty in our continent and indeed in other parts of this beautiful earth. Ultimately, the issue is to make people happy. How do we make each and every one of us happy? I think that's what we are here for. And it would be amazing if we do not come up with answers as quickly as possible when you can have so many powerful brains putting together ideas. I am sure and very, very hopeful that solutions will be found. What do we need to do, in my view? First of all, we need to be self-sufficient in our countries. We need to be able to feed ourselves. Here in Zambia, we are now encouraging each individual to cultivate a small piece of land at individual level so that you can have, first of all, household food security. And of course, the nation will be secure. This will transcend over to Africa, and then we can start exporting what we have to other parts of the world. How do we do this? I think we should be looking at practical issues. How do we get ourselves to be self-sufficient? Let us try to practice easy, smart agriculture. Let us provide credit to our small-scale farmers. Let us increase the productivity of our small-scale farmers and generally our farming community. How? Irrigation, mechanization, extension, technology in seed, technology in fertilizer, processing. These are the things that we need to do. Now, we know the answers. What we need to be looking at is how do we put this together? I think as a region, the African Union, the Africa Development Bank, and other cooperating partners, I think have taken a very positive way to look at this thing. I remember a few months ago, we were in Senegal, and we were all asked to come up with compacts for our countries. And in this country, we were given 3 crops and 3 other issues in livestock to look at. I'll not go into that because I do not want to chip into the Vice President's speech. But it is regional competition, regional competitiveness, comparative advantage that was looked at. And here in Zambia, I think later on we might have a chance to talk about it. If it hasn't already been talked about, we are moving in that direction. We need trade amongst ourselves. In Zambia, we have got the 8th National Development Plan that defines what we do, and it is being synchronized with the African Union requirements. And the 8th National Development Plan puts agriculture on apex, number 1. Then you have got tourism. Then you have got manufacturing, and you have got mining. It's the mining that made us become a bit off agriculture. But now we have realized, and the Vice President and the President are on us on agriculture, and we are so happy that that is the focus which we are looking at in Zambia. We are reforming some of our programs, like our famous FISIP, which is the Farmer Input Support Program, which is a subsidy program. We are also trying to look at, since we're also looking at nutrition, at our eating habits, Madam VP. In the morning, I eat porridge, maize. Lunchtime, I eat shima, maize. Evening, I eat shima, maize. All I'm doing is eat maize, 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 maize. That's our sickness here in Zambia. I don't know about you colleagues where you come from, but at least we know our problem here. And we need to work on it. Colleagues, the temptation of the microphone is dangerous. Join me. Would we please rise and put our hands together as we welcome the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia to come and give us her keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Please, we can take our seats. Thank you. Honorable Ruben Mtolo, MP, Minister of Agriculture of the Government of the Republic of Zambia. Honorable Makozo Chikote, MP, Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, Government of the Republic of Zambia. Honorable Ministers representing African Union member states present here. Her Excellency Ambassador Joseph, I'll say Korea, Sako, African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy, and Sustainable Environment. Her Excellency Ambassador Minata Samate Sesum, African Union Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs, and Social Development. Her Excellency Ms. Nados Bekele Thomas, Chief Executive Officer of African Union Development Agency, NEPAD. Honorable Members of Parliament from African Union member states, Dr. Abebe Haile, Assistant Director General and Regional Representative for Africa FAO. Mr. Stanley Sankange, outgoing Chair of the Cardiff Development Partners Coordination Group. Permanent secretaries and other senior government officials present, regional economic community executives in attendance, representatives of development partners and donors, members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of private sector, the academia and research institutions present here, civil society organizations, farmer associations, youth associations, the media colleagues, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Those that have spoken before me seemed to throw away their speeches, but I'll read mine. Distinguished delegates, I am a bearer of fraternal greetings from His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia. To you all, what did Muchindo say? Where is he? He has forgotten his French. To you all, I say, Mwabonwa. To others, I say, Karibu sana. And yet to others, I say, welcome to Zambia. I also extend a warm welcome to all delegates and other participants from around the world who have traveled to be here for this very important event. I am therefore honored to join you at this important gathering on the African continental calendar to deliver what you are calling keynote speech. On behalf of the people of Zambia, we express our gratitude to the African Union Commission for according us this rare opportunity to co-host the combined events, namely the 14th Africa Day for Food and Nutrition Security, very, very important, and the 19th Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program Partnership Platform here in Lusaka, Zambia. I wished I could look into the eye of each one of us to see how important these two things are. I am not about to throw away the speech, but I have heard that we can do so much. We have so much And yet we don't seem to be doing that much, the much that we want. I keep wondering to myself, what is it? Here are the people, just this room of people with all the knowledge, with all the mind, I hope with all the love for Africa. What makes us fail to attain? I almost refuse to read the speeches now about, stuntedness. The numbers are growing. I pray, Madam, that after this, the narrative must change. That is why we are here. And I am glad the two people that have spoken before me have talked of being pragmatic. Pragmatic. It's not theories. Let us talk about the Malabo Declaration. We will go to Abidjan and declare things. Now we are in Zambia, we will declare. I think that the report for the next meeting, Madam, Honorable Minister, must be so positive that all of us will want to attend the next meeting. Because the outcomes of the meeting, like this one, should not be what you bring down on paper. It's what happens after you have found the outcomes. We have had enough on paper. Integration of Africa, economic integration, socio-economic integration. I think Her Excellency referred to that. Where is the hitch? Where is the problem? The educated people sitting here. Colleagues, we can change Africa. The integration is the issue. And I like how we declare and then we say, go and do. And we come back and we are saying, can you report back? And nobody did nothing. Integration may mean, Your Excellencies, that you work together. You work together. We leverage on each other's strengths. I liked what the minister says. Competition, I thought it should be complementary. I like competition, but I think it can be a negative in a situation like ours. Let us speak complementary so that we see the strength and we cover up the weakness. We have so much, including resources, Your Excellencies. So much, including resources. But for our human capital, we seem to not do too well. And you know what I say? I think you heard me even in Abidjan. Human capital development starts with good nutrition. It starts with good nutrition. We are all thinking of developing our human capital. And yet, if we neglect this component, the next generation gets weaker and weaker. So I am happy that today there are also issues of nutrition. As we think of food security, nutrition. Yes, sir, Minister of Agriculture, maize and maize and maize is not good enough. That is why we appreciate researchers here. I think on my acknowledgement, it was there. Researcher, you were there. We can do very well. So I am happy with a heavy day. I'm happy to be here. And I would want to learn even more as people speak so that we can learn Politicians are here, honorable ministers, and myself, others you are seated there. We are here to listen to the colleagues, particularly coming from the AU right through to our countries, our different nations, those that belong to technical, specialized committees that are able to research and give us the answers. And we will work on implementation as politicians who are here. I haven't thrown the speech, so I'm going back. Distinguished delegates, the hosting of this combined event reflects the commitment of African member states to address food and nutrition insecurity on our continent. This event, therefore, provides a platform to share knowledge and experiences as well as take stock of progress attained to ensure that safer and nutritious foods are available, accessible, affordable, and desirable for improved health and well-being of all people on the continent. I'll repeat to you, the people of this day. We need to ensure that safer and nutritious foods are available, accessible, affordable, desirable for improved health and well-being of all people on the continent. It is worth noting that according to the 2023 State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World report, the food and nutrition security on the African continent reveals that while significant progress has been recorded in addressing hunger, poverty, and food security over the years, there is an increase in the number of hungry people who are barely managing a meal a day. What a contrast. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have equally seen an increase in stunting. I wish I didn't have to read this. We have equally seen an increase in stunting and wasting levels on the continent. This is as a result of the continent remaining highly vulnerable to shocks and disruptions arising from conflict. I am pausing. Conflict. Honorable ministers, conflict. I'll leave you to think about that. Is that necessary on our continent? Of course, there is climate variability as well as economic contraction. The situation is further worsened by demographic changes, urbanization, and shifting consumption patterns, like the minister referred to, maize and maize. These factors, combined with growing inequities, keep challenging the capacity of national agri-food systems to deliver nutritious, safe, and affordable diets for all. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to attain the target of ending hunger by 2025 on the continent, under the Malabo Declaration, there is need for a paradigm shift. This calls for political will as well as technical and financial commitments to accelerate implementation of food and nutrition security interventions in Africa. I am on the political level. Some of you are here at technical level, and yet there are others that are at financial level. We all need to work together. It is therefore gratifying that this year the combined event has been organized and is aligned with the 2023 theme of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Initiative, which is accelerating the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement in the context of Cardiff commitments for safer and healthier diets. The theme is significant and timely as the Africa Continental Free Trade Area presents opportunities to develop Africa's food basket to feed its people with possible surplus for the export market. Her Excellency did refer to the freedom of travel. The freedoms of travel, that is what will enhance this free trade area, continental free trade area. This will be attained through increased agricultural food production, productivity, easy movement of goods and food products, regional integration of food systems, as well as diversification and value addition to food products, while supporting increased incomes among smallholder farmers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we convene here over the next few days, we must collectively harness science, innovation, and research to enhance food and nutrition security. This includes increasing investments in research and development by advancing technologies and innovations for healthier food environments, while increasing the availability and affordability of nutritious foods. Further, we must strengthen institutional capacities by building competencies, knowledge systems, as well as partnerships, so that Africa attains economic growth, as well as job and wealth creation in member states. You cannot share poverty. If member states' economies are not doing well, then we have a problem there because we may have nothing to share. So all of us have a duty in our own states and then share the wealth and the good things that come out of that. In this regard, we must allocate adequate financial resources in agri-food nutrition value chains by tapping into private sector initiatives. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while matters of food and nutrition insecurity on the continent may seem impossible to overcome, I am optimistic that through such events, Africa will have opportunities to take up innovative solutions to end food insecurity and malnutrition on the continent. One of the solutions is by utilizing our human capital and natural resources, as well as consuming more of what we can sustainably produce. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the persistent burden of malnutrition has far-reaching consequences in the physical, mental, and cognitive development of our people, especially the African child. Malnutrition is not only a public health issue, but also human right, political, and economic development concern. We are therefore called upon to commit to the principles of the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, CARDIP, and take into account emerging issues that affect our continent and the world at large. By working together, we will attain a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, with a special focus on addressing poverty, inequality, and hunger on the continent. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me restate that the purpose of our gathering here is to find solutions and contribute to the attainment of the Africa Agenda 2063. As the people of Africa have entrusted us means you and me, with this huge responsibility, yet attainable one. To our visiting delegates, I will repeat what the minister said: find time to know Lusaka. Sample our foods and enjoy our hospitality. You are welcome to extend your stay by exploring Zambia's other tourist attractions, including the mighty Victoria Falls, which is just an hour's flight away. It's a must to see. You will never forget, even that once that you go there. Colleagues, we will look forward to the outcomes, and the next year we will look forward to better reports. I wish you fruitful deliberations, and may the good Lord bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I was the Vice President. Let's give her another round of applause, shall we? She spoke more from the heart than she did the paper, really, and you could tell that she's really very passionate about this subject and how it affects not only Zambia, but the entire continent, and we thank you. And yes, she has said what I think many of us Zambians have been saying from yesterday. You're all welcome to Zambia. Stay as long as you want. Visit however many places you want. And if you want to stay forever, you know what I'm about to say, right? Yes, the Vice President will confirm dual citizenship is something that we can offer you, and can be expedited from this event. But all in all, indeed, we are proud and happy to host all of you, our dear visitors, especially for such an important event, and that the resolutions will come from Lusaka and will be spread across the continent. But once again, thank you, Your Honor, the Vice President, for those remarks. I would now like to invite Mr. Chance Kawai, who is the Executive Director of IAPRI, to come and call upon a number of panelists, a few panelists that will be asked to make a few remarks on interventions in relation to the event theme. And so he will go on to introduce a few panelists that will make those remarks and what to follow.
Thank you, Director of Events, Paddy. After the Vice President has spoken, it always becomes very difficult to say anything more reasonable than what the Vice President has spoken. But please, can we give her another round of applause? I was even saying, coming here, was there any need for me to come? Because I think you've said everything. We should change the narrative. Basically, let us put our boots on the ground. So educated we are. I remember I was one of the young economists we met in Senegal, Dakar, 20 years ago, discussing the nuts and bolts of CAYACC. 19 years later on, we had the Mozambique, Maputo Declaration, Malawi Declaration. Is it now Lusaka Declaration? Now we have involved members of parliament to implement I think I agree with you, Your Honor, Vice President. Something is seriously wrong with us. Won't we be coming or going to another country to talk exactly what we're talking about today? I just want to underscore what the Vice President has said. Colleagues, we have to be serious. It's no longer an academic exercise. It's really practical. Where do we have bottlenecks? Can we remove those? Who is stopping the progress? Remove those. Your Honor, the Vice President. Indeed, the Minister of Agriculture was sometimes like me, having been a member of Parliament as well before, we develop verbal diarrhea. When you see a few people like this, you think that you cadres or something like that, and you say so much. But I know he had gone with you to Dakar, Senegal, early this year. Our president made emphatic statements what we need to do as a country, not only for this country, but for the region. Identified crops and livestock products that Zambia was saying we are going to be self-sufficient and feed the region. How much have we done? These are statements, Your Honor, Vice President, and colleagues who are here, Africans who are here. That's the challenge that we have. And it's a challenge that is impossible. It's a challenge that we can surmount. PhDs, masters, the most educated people are in agriculture. But see the results on the ground. Year in, year out, repeating the same things. Something is seriously wrong. When you said we should change the narrative, I fully endorse that statement. Colleagues, we should change the narrative. I am honored to have a very strong team that now will be talking how to put boots on the ground. This high-level ministerial talk. Ministers talk practical things. And like I am privileged, Your Honor, to have two strong cabinet ministers. Our Minister of Agriculture, a colleague of mine, Honorable Mutoro Piri, who will be telling us what has he put on the ground. We have another very good colleague of mine, our Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. And deliberately, Zambia decided to separate the two. Two serious cabinet ministers for agriculture, crops, fisheries, and livestock. Chikoti, he is there. Two strong ministers. We are supposed to have had another strong cabinet minister, Minister of Health, Sylvia Masewa. But unfortunately, she cannot make it. She really wanted to, but she has a bereavement, not only of the speaker, but also home, family, bereavement, so she cannot make it. But she has sent a very competent PS who is in charge of donor coordination related to the issues that we are talking about. So we have George Sinyangwe, Dr. George Sinyangwe. George Sinyangwe, maybe you can come up here. Where are you? We can give him a seat. You could maybe sit next there. So let me start with the Minister of Agriculture. Minister, you cut yourself short because you just said it's time for the Vice President to speak. We have 280 million people in Africa going hungry. 280 million people are hungry. The Vice President talked about staggering, dismal performance in terms of our children's health, malnutrition, stunting, wasting. And those I did indicate this morning that the future of this country, how can you have 2/3 of our own children being stunted? What kind of leadership are we building moving forward? Your Honor, I even said, I was in a village school. I ate well. I ate vegetables. When there was a bit of chicken on Christmas or something like that, we ate, but it was a balanced diet. And that's why I'm here, I can stand and talk, because I ate well as a child. So we found ourselves in a very awkward situation, colleagues. As Africans, we should stand up. As Africans, we should change the narrative. We have to move forward. When we talk about things, let us implement them. And there's no reason why we cannot implement them. We have done all sorts of formulas, forecasting, and so on, digital or non-digital. But we come 5 years later on, we're worse than when we talked about this. Something serious wrong. So I was talking about 2 million, 280 million going hungry. We had promised that by 2025, zero hunger, 2025. We have 2 years to go. It's still 2 years to go. And we're talking about 280 million are hungry. I don't know what formula, Your Honor, we are going to put in place to reverse this in the next 2 years. We need to do something revolutionary to reverse that. We talked about intra-African trade tripling, Malawi key declaration among ourselves. Today, I'm exporting. For a day, stop exports. We are exporting, dealing with the outside more than ourselves. How? Meanwhile, we've signed a declaration. We have to triple intra-African trade. And many more issues that we've agreed upon that we cannot implement. So, without wasting much time, I would like now to call upon our Minister of Agriculture to come forward again and give his view on how he sees Zambia, attaining what we promised in the compact, in Dakar. What have we done? What do we need to do? Inter-African trade, what are we doing with inter-African trade? Issues of productivity, where are we in terms of productivity? I think it's very important, colleagues. I do now be coming to the Rex. If there are any people representing regional groupings, I will also call upon maybe 2 or 3 of you also to come and give a statement how you are looking at issues of food systems and nutrition going forward in your given regions. Thank you, Honorable Mutor. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kawai. Thank you so much. I will try to be exceptionally quick looking at the time. Dear colleagues, a few months ago, as Honorable Kawai said, we were called to Senegal. And we had a lovely, lovely interaction there. But important is when we were going, we were told, come with ideas of what you think your country should do to contribute to the problem of food insecurity in Africa. And Zambia, we were asked to look at 3 crops: wheat, soybeans, and maize. I deliberately twisted them. Actually, the first one is maize. Yes. Now, to move with time, when we came back home, we decided, what do we do? We are producing maize. Zambia is self-sufficient with maize. We produce above 3 million. Zambia needs about 3 million, 3.2 million for consumption. And When we produce more and there's some carryover stock, we have practiced regional trade, regional integration. I remember the other day I was in Rwanda, and at a meeting like this, we kept on talking. Then I stood up and said, look, Zambia, we have maize. Who wants to buy maize? I was being very practical. Those who were in Rwanda will remember me doing this. I swayed off, I just veered off the normal meeting procedures. I said, instead of talking here, I have maize in Zambia. Buy maize. But to cut a long story short, dear colleagues, for the first time, Zambia structured a mini-meal contract with the DRC. I hope we've got people from the DRC here. Well, is there? No, it doesn't matter. For the first time, Zambia structured a trade contract with the DRC. One of the deputy ministers of DRC came, we sat in my office, we did an MOU, we said, look, we don't want to give you maize, we'll give you mini-meal. And we came up with prices which Zambia has never seen in terms of maize sales. And the money came. There was always fear that the Congo doesn't like taking money to the banks. No, that's not true. The Congo gave us money straight into the bank. And I got that money for maize, $14.2 million, and gave it to the Farmers Union. I'm sure the Farmers Union are represented here. It happened for the first time. And we were grateful and thankful that we could trade like that with the Congo. Now, what am I saying? Malawi, if you want maize, let's do the right thing. Let's not allow trucks to run through borders without contracts. Tanzania, let's do the right thing. Kenya, let's do the right thing. And the right thing is through contracts, government to government, and you hand it over to the private sector. In that way, you structure funds movement and you can monitor what is happening. South Sudan, Minister of South Sudan is always coming to these types of gatherings. I hope she's here with the big man who is responsible for livestock. They are very committed with their permanent secretaries. Let's get into contracts in advance. We'll grow the maize for you. Botswana, the same. Zimbabwe, now Zimbabwe is producing now and we're very happy with Zimbabwe. Produce more maize so that we can put together this maize and give to countries which need it. No one should die for lack of maize in Africa. It is not right. We are able to produce the maize here. Kenya. I see some faces close like Kenyans here. Once we even brought turmoil because I said the Kenyans are coming to cultivate in Zambia. I almost had my head chopped off by Kenyans and Zambians. But that's what we want. We do it properly. Angola, Rwanda. In short, in those countries where you can produce this grain easily, please come, we do joint ventures. We produce the grain together and export it to your countries. We are looking for joint ventures. My president has told me, Mtolo, change your narrative. You are telling people that Kenyans are coming to get land. People will kill you. Yes, I've stopped. I've taken a different route. Joint ventures. We will give land. Together, we work on it together. Any country that wants to produce maize, wheat, sorghum, soya, any crop, come, we work together. On our land, joint venture. And I want this to be well taken. Joint venture. So my brother, it's either you are Kenya or Rwandese, but you look like from there. Come, joint venture. We are here, we are offering. We are opening up green fields. So let me get back to the discussion why I was brought here. But that was important because that is regional trade, that's integration. Zambia is open and you are welcome. Let me tell you the other thing we did. I was looking at CADIP, and then with my officers at the Ministry of Agriculture, we said if we say CADIP, it will be so clear. So we changed a few things, and we have an acronym called CAYACC. Yes, Comprehensive Agriculture Transformation Support Program. The big one is CADIP. Ours is CAYACC. Now, what do we want to do in this? What we are doing now is we realized our biggest weakness, and our biggest weakness is agricultural credit, cheap finance, sustainable agricultural financial support to our small-scale farmers. As you see me here, I feel like flying, because beginning next week or so, we are now going to give our farmers affordable credit, 12% interest, 1 hectare to 5 hectares initially. Afterwards, we go 10, 15, and then we can start giving irrigation equipment, etc., etc., etc. But we are starting to improve what we used to know in Zambia as FISIP, which was the Farmer Input Support Program. Basically, a subsidy program. We give farmers subsidy, they produce. The problem with it has been, it's like a sinking well. You just put money every year, $300 million, it goes. $400 million, it goes. We are not stopping it, because out of the 3 million small-scale farmers, the FISIP supports 1 million. So what happens with the 2 million? We are now working with banks, and that's where the affordable credit is going to be released. It has been done in other countries, and I've been reading. Uganda did it, Kenya is doing it, Tanzania is doing it. We are also now going to start doing it. Specific for the crop that we were told to concentrate on, maize, soya, and later on wheat. But for this year, we are only concentrating on maize. What do we want to do? We want to provide this credit where the farmer can get 8 bags. We want to provide in that credit where the farmer can get good seed, and you are all aware that Zambia is a net exporter of seed. We are also very happy if countries want that technology, come and talk to Zamseed, come and talk to Seedco, come and talk to Synergy. They will open up production lines in your country. We are also now able to sell fertilizer. We have started with D-compound, we are moving to urea. Later on, we'll move to proper fertilizers, because we are told this fertilizer, we have to be careful. Soon there will be laws that will only allow us to do maybe 70% of this synthetic fertilizer, and then we start doing the, fertilizer which is less harmful to the soils. But we are very proud. For now, we are going to use this fertilizer that we can produce synthetic, and we are very happy to have it. We have companies that are producing it. We have even started exporting. Anyone from Botswana here? Aha! Proof. We are exporting to Botswana. Fertilizer from Zambia. Excellent. Regional integration. I move on. What do we want to do as we are giving our small-scale farmers this money? We have put a small amount in there for mechanization, because everybody here knows that above 2 hectares, there is no way you can, even if you are strong like, where's my brother, the director of ceremonies? He's a huge guy, he's not stunted like me. That man there. Even a man like him, you can't do 3 hectares with hands. No. You need animal drought power or tractor power, mechanized power. And we want to go into that direction. So those countries that have got that technology, come to Zambia, we'll give you land where you set up a plant, you start producing your tractors, small tractors, your plows, etc. And that is what Africa needs. If we have to beat this hunger, we need to work together in these fields. Do you want me to continue, sir? Or this is enough, I give room to my friends. Thank you. I will stop here. If there will be any question, I will be very, very happy to answer. But in short, we do have the land, we do have the water, we do have the resources, the good climate, and those who want to come, joint venture, JV. Thank you.
You see, I knew he was going to say that and captivate all of you. He means well. He's action-oriented. He is a food security person. I worked with him. You can imagine both of us working food security together for 6 years. And then we are saying we are going hungry with such kind of ministers in place. I would like now so you see, we are still working together. You see, the honor of the vice president will need to go, but not just now, in another 5-10 minutes, and we'll continue with the program. Yesterday had a heavy meeting, knocking off late. Today, since morning, she just came because she had no choice because of the importance of this meeting. So she only listen now to our minister in charge of fish and livestock. Livestock is beef, is pork, is poultry, all those things. Kalulu's hair, all those are under his portfolio. Honorable Minister. These are the ministers we have in this country. It's just a sample.
I honor the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia and all our distinguished guests that have been invited. You know, it becomes very difficult when you are told that you have to stick to time. As you have been told that Her Honor the Vice President needs time to go and rest. I would sing one song that Her Honor has already said. Honorable Member Dr. Kawai knows we have always positive fights, especially arising from the theme. I've just picked 2 words there. Accelerating implementation. We keep on having these meetings and conferences to revise what we know already. That's what we do. In my ministry, I've been always saying that if there is any ministry which has got a lot of doctors, it's my Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. But are we answering? Are we putting those solutions? Are we implementing what we have researched? I remember last time I was in Malawi, a lot of doctors, experts, like what I'm seeing here. We discussed issues of Malabo Declaration as Africa. But when are we going to actualize what we have researched? I think that's the challenge we have as Africa. Now, in the Department of Fisheries and Livestock, when you see me, you must handle me with care because I deal with proteins. I know my dear colleague, the Minister of Agriculture, was talking about Chima. But me, I deal with proteins. If we are to deal with malnutrition, this is the ministry. if we are to deal with challenges of malnutrition amongst our children, the answers lies in the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. If we are to increase production and productivity, where my dear colleague has mentioned that before we move to the mechanization, we have to start with drought power. Is livestock, cattle. Drought power is cattle. So now, as a country, as Zambia, we have plenty of surface water. We have plenty of underground water. We have plenty of grazing land. But what are we doing as a country? Have we achieved the numbers so that we are able to trade in Africa? So far, as we are talking, we have only our dearest neighbors who we should compliment, because her owner has said that we should not compete, but we should complement. That's the strategy for Africa now. Our dearest colleagues in Botswana. That is the only country which is staggering to see and promote trade in beef. Zambia has all what it takes, more than Botswana. My dear colleague there can agree with me. But we are still struggling. Now, as a ministry, we want to invite joint ventures in production of local vaccine in Zambia. I have been queuing in Botswana to get FMD vaccines. So the lead response to diseases is a challenge to Zambia. So now, as a country, Zambia, we, Dr. Kawai, we have started expanding our CVRI in terms of starting producing our local vaccine to respond to diseases. Not only that, we have also looked at issues of how do we grow the numbers. With all the natural resources that we have as a country, we have decided to start empowering our communities. Our local communities must be empowered through stocking and restocking, so that at a household level, they are able to fight malnutrition. They are able to raise their income to improve their livelihood. So our program, our strategy in that angle is to make sure that when we empower one household, we have to wait for them to increase their production so that they are able to pass on to the next beneficiaries. And that's how we can grow our numbers in this country. And that's how we can fight poverty. That's how we can make sure that every household has got drought power to produce crops other than using hands, if we are to increase our production. Now I want to talk about aquaculture. Aquaculture is one of the interventions that we have put in place as a government. Because our natural water bodies, we have overfished. As a country, we are facing now fish deficit because of number of factors that surround our natural water bodies. So when we have overfished our natural water bodies, what is that we are putting in place to close up the gap? I've been told that take some water. Yeah, if it was in parliament, they would start shouting water, water. Now, my dearest colleagues, aquaculture is a new intervention that we have introduced because we believe that fish is something that God has already given us. We don't need to do. So now, as you researchers, as you PhD doctors, you brought an idea that people must farm. And as a country, we have started spreading this intervention to make sure that every farmer that lives in these potential areas start investing into aquaculture. We are taking advantage of our natural resources, our plenty water that I just said. So now, as a government, we have decided to make sure that we equip our farmers by giving them loans, especially working together with our cooperating partners. We have been giving loans to our small-scale farmers so that they can go and invest in aquaculture. As we are talking now, the numbers whereby when we started this program in Zambia, we had only 200 farmers that were practicing aquaculture. And that was at a commercial level only. As I'm talking to you now, as a country, we have now about 14,926 people who have invested in aquaculture. So it's a new intervention that is showing good indicators that we are almost going to work hard to close up the gap of fish deficit. When we introduced this intervention, we moved from producing 30,000 metric ton, Dr. Gabai. Because of this intervention, we have now moved to 75,000 metric tons that we are producing as a country because of this intervention. But other than what I've just said, the challenge lies in shelving and promoting too many workshops. Today, our experts will come and say, no, we need to review. The next meeting and conference again, we are going to meet in South Africa, we need to review. So when are we going to implement that we have already researched? I think that's the challenge I have with you, my dearest doctors. As Africa now, we should start now implementing and actualize that which we have already researched. If we are to win the battle of food security, if we are to win as Africa, that we are safe in terms of food, we need to implement. Too much conferences, we should now lessen conferences and actualize. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I do head an institution that deals with statistics called Indaba Cultural Policy Research Institute. What they have talked about, we've seen in practical sense, boots on the ground. Things are moving in this country. I can easily see another 2-3 years, what they're talking about will be actualized. Zambia will not only feed itself, but it's going to feed the region. So can we give a round of applause to our 2 ministers for a job well done? Your Excellency, our honor, the Vice President, we are extremely thankful for having found time out of your extremely difficult schedule to come and be with us. Can we please all stand up as our Vice President leaves? But we'll continue with the program. Thank you. A big round of applause.
Okay, please find your seats. Okay, thank you very much for your patience this afternoon. We know that we've gone way beyond our time. We are not quite through, but we'll need to do two little pieces of business before we call it a day. One of them, and this is an appeal to you, there are some young people who are waiting at the door because we had a Youth for Nutrition initiative that we were to launch. We need less than 10 minutes to launch that initiative. If we don't do it, we are going to break their hearts, and we don't want to do that. These are our young people waiting at the door. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Mrs. Esteline Lesinge Fortabong, Director of AUDA NEPAD, to come and launch the Youth for Nutrition initiative. Let's welcome and appreciate Mrs. Esteline.
Good evening. After this wonderful session, listening to our ministers, and of course, Her Excellency the Vice President, calling us all into action. I have a very easy job in the next 2 minutes, just to announce the launch of the initiative that we are doing for Youth for Nutrition initiative. Earlier this morning when we spoke, we did mention that we had the African Youth Food Expo, and that we have some young chefs from across the continent that are outside with what they can do to help us see how they are promoting the use of biofortified and fortified foods to help combat hunger and malnutrition in the continent. So they are outside. They really would like you people to find time to visit them. But right now, we have been engaging, my colleague, Kifile Malusi, has been working with a group of young people. And today we are launching this very, very important initiative called Youth for Nutrition. And there is a call for action, which the youth have designed. And I will just invite them, because it's not my role to steal their thunder. It's a call for action that they have designed. I will invite them to come forward and read it and present it to all of us. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and your excellencies. Good day. Good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to address this audience on the occasion of the launch and the commemoration of the 14th Africa Day for Food and Nutrition Security and 19th CADAP. I want to thank the government of the Republic of Zambia for hosting and convening this important high-level dialogue that will hopefully raise the awareness to the rest of the world of what is happening in this part of the world, and hopefully come up with meaningful solution. I look forward to our engagement with all of you here. This platform has provided a platform for policy dialogue and conversations essential for accelerating inter-regional food trade, food security, and stimulating economic growth across the continent, and to align the integrate individual nations' effort to achieve food and nutrition security outcomes. On this auspicious day, we will explore the youth involvement in promoting the preparation and consumption of local indigenous food and food-based approaches to combat hunger and malnutrition in Africa. AUDA NEPAD, together with the Southern African Youth Forum and other partners, have organized the Africa Youth Food Expo under the theme Recipes for Better Nutrition. This theme is built on the decisions which was taken in the wake of an unacceptably persistent level of food insecurity epitomized by chronic malnutrition on the continent. The Food Expo will showcase our youth active involvement in promoting the consumption of indigenous foods using innovative food technology such as biofortified and fortified foods to combat chronic hunger and all forms of malnutrition in Africa. This will also create appreciation amongst the youth and stimulate interest of African youth in making small and medium-scale investments in nutrition and agriculture sector. Nutrition and food security are extremely fragile due to various vulnerabilities in the continent. We need a paradigm shift in the way we do business. The political environment should be conducive to reducing malnutrition through conducive policies and practices in many sectors that intersect with nutrition, from education to agriculture to climate and the environment. Coordination, collaboration, and harmonization to policies and actions are critical. This call to action for Youth for Nutrition, therefore, seeks to engage multiple actors along the different development pathways, including the following. 1, African governments to provide full support to continental youth institutions for food security and nutrition in execution of their mandate. 2, we invite African youth members, regional economic communities, RECs, the youth, multilateral organizations, private sector, academia, and communities to support institutional capacity building initiatives that support food security and nutrition at the continental, national, and regional levels. Additionally, there will be need to strengthen and expand in agri-food and nutrition financing youth programs in Africa. Thirdly, we invite civil society organizations across Africa to engage in capacity building of communities, campaign on nutrition and food security, support the implementation of government's national nutrition programs, and advance the aspirations of the Agenda 2063 on food security and nutrition. We also call upon civil society organizations to intensify consultations with the youth forums in view of shaping national policies, monitoring and evaluation of government targets. To this effect, we encourage CSOs to make use of nutrition scorecards to promote transparency and accountability. 4, we call upon young people, women, and persons with disability, constituting the larger percentage of the population in Africa and being the key stakeholders and agents and leaders of transformation need to be nurtured and their potentials as innovators, investors. We therefore call upon youth councils, youth organizations, students, women, and people with disabilities and young artists to engage and be involved in the mainstream nutrition and food insecurity in the strategies and programs to make Africa a great and self-sustaining continent. This call to action, ladies and gentlemen, also seeks to recognize and support the Africa Young Champions on nutrition and food security. Fifth, African governments, regional economic communities, youth, multilateral organizations, private sector, civil society organizations, academia, and communities to support local production of products in Africa, as well as show support by creating awareness and advocating for the youth to assist in ending hunger and halving poverty by 2025. Six, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with these few words, I thank you once again, and I have no doubt that this call to action will encourage us all to do the right thing for people and prosperity for the current and future generations of our youth and the continent. It is a noble call to action. It is a call for survival. Let us act now. Let us act today. I also take this opportunity to launch the African Union Development Agency NEPAD Youth for Nutrition Initiative, which is aimed at deepening engagements across the African across the African continent to act as promoters of nutrition in their communities. Two, raising awareness and advocacy through campaigns and grassroots initiatives on the importance of good nutrition, and forging partnerships and collaboration among governments, civil societies, youth, and women organizations, public and private sectors in creating sustainable solutions to address hunger and malnutrition. I thank you and good luck to our youth. We thank you very much, and we ask that you may join us at our tent out as our young people, our chefs who come from different regions in Africa, have come to showcase their culinary skills. Thank you for your ears. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Please, let's give a big hand again to these young people. Thank you so much. That's the future of the continent, and we couldn't have closed this day any better than listening to the young people. Let's encourage them. Please support the NEPAD initiative for youth in nutrition. We will partner with everyone, all the partners that are here, the donors, the civil society organizations. Please, let's work together so that we deepen youth engagement in promoting nutrition, raising awareness, and supporting and encouraging multi-sectoral collaboration. We thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you for your indulgence. The food expo is just outside the entrance as you come into this hall. So we encourage you to go and visit the food expo. Right now, as you know, in your program, we were meant to have some parallel sessions, and we'll still, those of you who can persevere a little bit, welcome you to either of two sessions. One is actually to go to the Youth Expo, and those of you who would prefer to do that, we encourage you to do that. But here in this hall, if you remain, there is the launch of the Consortium of Youth in Agriculture and Climate Change, and there's going to be two brief panels. There's a youth panel, a partners panel, and Paduleni Lago is going to give a keynote, and then there'll be a presentation and then a discussion. So if you're willing to be patient enough, we don't want these ones to go longer than 45 minutes. So you could either stay here for that launch of the consortium or go to the food expo. We hope it is one of the two, not going home just yet. And tomorrow we promise that we will do what the program says. Today was a bit difficult for obvious reasons. One announcement about tomorrow. Today the start was at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow, if you look at your program, we start at 8:30. We start at 8:30. So please let's be here for 8:30 start so that we are not struggling with the time in the evening. So 8:30 tomorrow morning. Otherwise, please stay here for the launch of the consortium or go to the food expo and then have a good evening. See you tomorrow morning. Okay, for those who are staying here, the moderator of this panel is Mr. Emmanuel Gore, Youth Specialist at Policy Link. So Emmanuel, if you are here, please come. And for those of you who are staying, hey, let's welcome Emmanuel. Let's welcome Emmanuel.
Where is that person you're supposed to talk to? You can talk to her now. Or is she starting now? Now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start the final session. Hello, everybody. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. Thank you, thank you. Kindly, would you please move forward? There's a lot of space at the front so that you can start. Yes, kindly move forward. Thank you, thank you. Please feel free to occupy the seats in front of you. And I think we should be able to start. Please move to the seats in front of you. Can you hear me? Clap once. Clap once again. Clap 5 times. No, you can't hear me. Come on, clap louder 5 times. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we will start. My name is Emmanuel Gore. I work with the USAID Policy Link based in Nairobi, and currently also the facilitator of the Consortium of African Youth in Climate Change and Agriculture. So we are here to launch the consortium, but we'll have some discussions to kick us off. And as you can see, or you've heard over the last one day and even today, there's been a lot of discussions about youth. Everybody's saying the youth must be involved. So we want to hear how that goes, and we hope that we will all be able to walk that talk. So very quickly, I would like to invite the keynote speaker for today's session, Ms. Panduleni Elago, a senior CADAP advisor at the Africa Union Commission. So, Madam Panduleni, please take the stage. Come on, please clap for Madam Panduleni. Thank you.
Wow, what a day. Thank you, Emmanuel. The room just got empty, and I know the reason. Everybody went to the Youth Expo where all the food is, right? Because we need those nutritious health diet foods. So let's not blame it on them. Esteemed representatives of the youth, distinguished guests present here today, all protocol observed. It is almost getting into the early evening of today, but it's all for good cause, I would say. I think us having had the presence of the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, to us as also key organizers of this event, we are much more excited. And I will not say that we are delayed today, but it is what it is with all the graces. I am truly humbled and privileged and honored indeed to stand here before you all to share this remarkable occasion, of which today is a memorable day in the history of our beloved continent of Africa, as we gather specifically to launch the African Youth Consortium. It is not just a consortium by large, but it is specific consortium of agriculture and climate change network. A milestone, I would say, that signifies our commitments to harness the immense potential, the potential that we know this youth has in addressing critical challenges of agriculture and climate change. Africa is a continent brimming with youthful energy, innovative and determination. Our young people are not just the future. They are the driving force behind the transformative change that we want to see, that we want to seek today for you, the youth. You are the torch bearers of our hope and aspirations, and it is indeed imperative that you empower them to take the lead in shaping this continent. I'm not saying that I'm not youth myself, by the way, but for this, it is for that other category of the youth. The African Union Commission has purposely and firmly positioned the youth at the heart of its development agenda. This is the Agenda 2063. Our vision on the agenda and its roadmap is that of the future that envisions that of attainment, equitable prosperity for our continent, powered by the inheritance potential of its people, with a particular emphasis on the invaluable contributions that both women and youth has. This commitment underscores the significance of inclusivity and ensuring that no one is left behind. When we look at the challenges that we face today, dear ladies and gentlemen, two critical issues come to forefront. One is that of agriculture, and the other is climate change. Agriculture, as you all know, is the backbone of our economies, providing subsistence, livelihoods, and economic growth for millions of our Africans. Yet it faces immense challenges, from food security to employment opportunities. And I think just the high-level ministerial session that just ended clearly alluded to these food insecurity challenges of which this continent has. At the same time, climate change presents an existential threat to our continent. It has no borders, and its effects are already felt across this African continent, from prolonged droughts to devastating floods and extreme weather events. It is therefore a crisis that demands urgent and concrete actions. It is this backdrop that we must recognize the vital role that you as the youth play. We all know that the youth is the future, and I'm really delighted to see a lot of some of the youth that I have worked with here over the past 2 years. Thank you so much for being here. As you know, the youth are the architect of innovative solutions, the champions of sustainable practices, and surely the leaders of tomorrow. Recently, at the just ended Climate Change Summit in Nairobi, African leaders reaffirmed the importance of sustainable low-carbon future for our continent. Principles of social justice, fairness, and leaving no one behind were echoed throughout that summit. It was emphasized that the summit actions should create opportunities for climate jobs and develop skills that are adaptable to the evolving demands of the green economy. This is a part that I know for sure that relates to the youth. And I'm referring to the climate change jobs as well as the developing skills for the youth. This is precisely where the youth has to come in. Because why? Because they hold the key to unlocking innovative approaches and fostering a job-rich transition in food, agriculture, and climate-related sectors. Africa, as you all know, requires knowledge, skills, and perspectives to navigate these challenges effectively. Our young people, I know so well, they can provide that fresh perspective, driving change and offering solutions that align with the principles of sustainable and social inclusion. Talking of agriculture, CAYACC, as we all know it, that declaration that was adopted in 2014 by the heads of state of the African nation sets 4 specific targets that are youth-related initiatives. It calls for creation of job opportunities for at least 30% of youth in agricultural value chains, ensuring that women and youth have preferences at any entry and participation in the agri-business opportunities. To complement this specific agenda of the Malabo Declaration, the African Union Commission has developed a comprehensive set of policies, frameworks that focuses on youth and employment. Amongst others, this includes the African Youth Charter, the African Plan of Action for Youth Empowerment 2019-2024, and the African Union's 5-year priority program. These initiatives are designed to unleash the potential of our youth across the continent in areas such as education, employment, entrepreneurship, engagement, and health. Dear delegates, youth, ladies and gentlemen, in response to all these policies, the African Union has also significantly taken a step forward to develop what we call the African Agribusiness Youth Strategy. This strategy underscores the empowerment of young agripreneurs as the linchpin of the African development. It seeks to create an enabling environment for the youth entrepreneurship and employment by 2025 and beyond. There is a difference when we talk about Malabo Declaration. There are so much commitments that says up until 2025, but this specific youth agribusiness youth strategy says by 25 and beyond. Additionally, investment guidelines for youth in agribusiness system exists, and this has been developed with a clear support of the Food and Agriculture Organization, in short, FAO. As we stand on the precision of this existing journey with the launch of the African Youth Consortium of Agriculture and Climate Change Network, we must ensure that our youth engagement on these crucial issues as well as structures are well coordinated. Just a week ago, I talked some remarks at the webinar of the youth, and I clearly highlighted that unless the youth are well structured and coordinated, then only you would see how all other organizations across the continent and beyond can support your processes. We all know that you as the youth are the voice. Today, we commit to providing the youth with tools, resources, opportunities they need to be effective change makers. Change makers, particularly in food, change makers, particularly in agriculture, also change makers, particularly in climate change policy. We envision a future where the youth are active architects of sustainable agriculture and climate resilience for Africa. In conclusion, delegates, youth, ladies and gentlemen, let us embark on this journey together, united in our determination to create a prosperous, inclusive, and also that is sustainable for Africa, for all. I call upon everybody here present today. I call upon the governments, institutions, civil society, the partners, also our parliamentarians present here today. I call upon you to support this dynamic youth to transform our continent into a beacon of hope, into a beacon of resilience in the face of food, agriculture, and climate challenges. Just in a couple of few minutes, I will look forward to launching the African Youth Consortium of Agriculture and Climate Change Network. To you all, on behalf of the youth, though I know they'll still have an opportunity to talk to us, thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you very much, Panduleni, for those remarks. AUC has worked very closely with the CAYACC team, the consortium team, and we are very proud to be associated with you and very happy to have been privileged to work with you on that. So very quickly, I'll introduce the next speaker, who will be now talking about this unifying structure, this strategic and objective way of bringing young people together to enable them engage in policy at a more strategic level. So please, Dalitso Mbewe, the current coordinator for the Consortium for African Youth and Climate Change. Over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As previously introduced, my name is Daliso Mbewe. I'm the coordinator for the Consortium of African Youth in Agriculture and Climate Change. I was a little bit disappointed when the room got a little bit empty, but even if there was just one of you who stayed in this room to listen to me, I would be deeply thankful. So thank you very much. I know it's been a long day, so I'll try to be as quick as possible. In being as quick as possible, while my colleague is helping with the technical challenges, I would like to tell you a short story. How did the world start? When God was making the sun, some particles of dust and some gases came together. And the collision of those particles of dust and gases caused a chain reaction. And the chain reaction turned into the sun. And when the sun was made, a piece of the sun broke off, which is a rock, which became the earth. And because of the energy from the sun, due to the collision and organization of those gases and the dust, the earth started to produce plants. And those plants became food for animals. And then something really terrible happens. I'm not sure what, because I was not there. But all the animals died at some point, if you've ever heard about the dinosaurs. But there's one species which did not become extinct. And that species is the ant. The reason why ants have survived for 140 million years is because ants work together. And the reason we have founded the Consortium of African Youth in Agriculture and Climate Change is because we want young people to work together to change the narrative that Africa is a hungry continent. As I said before, because I'm trying to be as quick as possible, let us cooperate as youth organizations, let us cooperate as development partners, let us cooperate as member states, let us continue to cooperate with the African Union. We are highly, highly, highly honored to be considered by the African Union, and I wish to respectfully disagree with my elder sister Panduleni, that we are not the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today. Our consortium was founded in 2011 when we met at the United Nations Food System Summit. And our mandate is to unify, integrate, and channel the efforts of African youth organizations in agriculture and climate change. When we undertook our mapping this year in 2023, our response came from 205 youth organizations across the continent. And those are the organizations who saw our advert on the internet. Imagine those ones who were not able to respond. Imagine those ones who maybe did not respond because they speak French or Arabic or some of the other Africa Union languages. And we'll continue to engage and build capacity within the organization to make sure that we reach the roots, the youth at the grassroots. Our vision is a unified and inclusive network of youth in agriculture and climate change. Our mission is to sustainably engage youth in agriculture and climate change. Our values are collaboration, innovation, inclusivity, integrity, and accountability for sustainability. My favorite value out of these ones is accountability. Because one day when I'm walking down the streets of some of these African countries we go to with my auntie Constance or KK there, they'll ask me, Daliso, you stood in front of the youth of Africa and said that you are going to change the narrative. What have you done? So we have to be accountable. And for me to be accountable, it means my team should be accountable. And it means the young people who we represent should be accountable. Our organizational structure is a hub and spoke model. We have the secretariat at the center where we look to serve our young people. And we have representation in each of the African Union regions. Our sister Wafa from Morocco in the north. My sister Sally from Nairobi in Kenya. My sister Olorato, who I'm always arguing with, from Botswana. Our colleague Bimbe from Central Africa, who could not make it at this moment, and my big Oga, Mr. Olumide Idowu, also known as Mr. Climate, who also serves as Executive Director for the African Youth in Climate Change. Our strategic objectives are to enhance impact through capacity building, to ensure we have knowledge transfer, and knowledge transfer in 2023, everybody is online all the time. So we want to make sure we take policies, these big policies that we talk about in the Africa Union and Doctor Who, we want to change them into pictures and videos, which young people can understand and relate to, which can help them be attracted to agriculture, which can help them understand that we need to maintain our environment. Because if we don't, whatever happened that time when all the dinosaurs died, it could happen again. Our fourth strategic objective is partnerships. Without our partners, we cannot achieve anything. I would like to make mention of USAID Policy Link, who are our key partner in ensuring that when we bang on the door of the Africa Union listens, because they have shown us trust, our partners have shown us trust. Our partners who are with the CADEP state, non-state actors, they always think about us as young people and youth representatives when it's time for us to change the narrative. Our guiding policies, we are guided by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the Paris Agreement, the Agenda AU 2063, the CADEP Malabo Declaration, the African Climate Summit outcomes, and AU member state policies. So we just didn't wake up in the morning and think that we want to change Africa's story. We studied, we looked at what looks good on paper, and now we want what looks good on paper to become something good on the ground. Our partnership model and operational strategy is basically founded by the mandate from the African Union, and we look forward to welcoming various development partners and youth organizations to see how we can work together to change the narrative. I will not bother you with any more academic things. I just wish to thank you for your time and to reiterate that we need to work together to change this continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the boss, Daliso. So it's always a pleasure to listen to you speak. And because of time, he would have spoken more than this, I can tell you. So thank you very much, Daliso. One thing that he said is we must collaborate. And that resonates with the previous session. They talked about joint ventures. Exactly. So very quickly, we'll have a small panel. So I'd like to invite my co-facilitator, co-moderator, Catherine Bindio, to take us through that second and last session. Catherine.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Gore, let's clap for him. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and all protocols observed. I am honored to be able to moderate two very exciting panels that will be kind of merged into a discussion. My name is Catherine Bindio. I work as the Global Collaboration Design and Learning Director for Policy Link. I've been very happy to support the Consortium of African Youth in Agriculture and Climate Change. You should get the time to meet the members of this amazing consortium because they're here in the room and they have a lot to say and they've got a lot of work they want to do. And like all the other people who came before me have said, together we're stronger. The ministers talked about joint ventures, and we all know that African proverb of if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And so today, the reason we have a consortium is so that we can work together, the youth can come together and be one voice advocating for the needs for youth in policy in agriculture. But let me call the people who will tell you why they decided to form this consortium together. So allow me to kindly invite Mr. Olomide Idowu from West Africa. Please come up, join the panel. Next, I will call Ms. Sally Kimathi from Eastern Africa. If you could please come. And lastly, I'll call Ms. Olerato Sebitla from Southern Africa. The volume is bad? Okay. Okay, so I've been told that we are having some camera issues and we need to move from this podium to that podium. So kindly, my delegates, if we could make our way to the other side of the room. Thank you so much. Everyone give us a minute as we transition. This is also really friendly to my height. So thank you everyone who could be able to stay behind to participate in this session. And without further ado, I want each of our youth representatives to come up here in front and tell you, first of all, who they are, the organization they represent, why their organization became part of this consortium that is being launched today, CAYACC. And I want them to also highlight some of the challenges that youth are facing within the different regions and the kind of support that is needed to enable them to be really productive contributors in the food systems transformation agenda. So without further ado, I welcome Mr. Olomide to take the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. My name is Olumide Idowu, and I'm from Nigeria. I'm the Executive Coordinator for African Youth Initiative on Climate Change. And I'm very excited to be part of this conversation. I just quickly want to tell you that one of the biggest reasons why we are part of this consortium is because we understood that there's a lot of young people, a lot of network across Africa. And instead of us to work in silos, we decided to see how we can bridge synergy and to also understand that investment and opportunity that young people are looking at when it comes to agriculture and climate change is something that needs collective effort. So that's the reason why CAYACC decided to let us be part of this conversation, even though we cut across close to 42 countries, and we have been doing a lot of work around bridging the gap between the market women or the young people to the government. And it's very, very interesting for us to also say that this consortium is going to be a platform that is going to build collaboration and support. And one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to challenges, the first one is the issue of policy. And I think it has been a very big conversation that everybody keeps talking about policies. But when it comes to young people, like my friend always, how do we cascade? How do we catalyze this conversation to make people to understand what policy advocacy is all about, and how do we try to translate those policies to young people, and talking about climate change and agriculture. Because if you look at this set of young people, one of the biggest markets for them now is what they eat, what they wear, and where they live. And if those three things are taken care of, then I'm sure we'll be able to understand that the issue of climate crisis, the issue of shortage of food will be taken away. Then thirdly, we need to also, we are looking at the challenges we are looking at is how do we start to bridge the gap from markets to the place where we need to act, the food is coming out from. And if we talk about food shortage, you understand that the small scale farmers are the ones that actually produce the larger number of food that we are eating. So we are trying to look at how do we make sure that we bridge those gaps. We talk about transportation of goods, we talk about the food shortage. How do we try to look at those areas? Then the last challenges I also want to share with you is the issue of investment. You know, everywhere we go to, they say young people always ask for money. I will bet you there's nowhere you go to in the world that young people doesn't need money. But the strategy and the way young people are approaching the way they ask for money is what we want to, the narrative we want to change. And how are we going to do this? We want to try to showcase actions that young people are doing, not only advocacy, but implementation in making sure that they are investing in so many things. And that is why investment opportunity for young people, whether you are in agriculture or you are working towards making sure you are provide infrastructure for your local community, we are trying to see how we can do that to make sure. So those challenges are the things that we are looking at so that we'll be able to drive innovation, drive support, and have conversation that we actually make people or make investors to look at young people as a support to make economic growth to move. So those three areas are the areas that we are looking at, and we'll make sure that we will not fail you, and we make sure that everybody across the value chain work together and to build a better future for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olumide, for those really honest remarks of what's needed. I would like to now invite Sally Kimathi to also share with us what is happening in Eastern Africa and what support they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Catherine. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sally Kimathi from Eastern Africa, representing YPAD, that is Young Professionals for Agricultural Development. First of all, before I even begin, I want to reiterate that there is need to recognize the role of youth in sustainable food systems, and also in the conversations that have been going on from Monday. We kept on saying we need to find a way to engage the youth, and this consortium that you're launching today is that way that we are looking to find. It's the solution. So, and YPAD is an international movement in 72 countries. In Africa, we have 39 chapters, of which Kenya is one of them. And most of our activities is to enhance youth involvement in agriculture and development. And I would categorize our activities into ABC, advocacy for policy, having an enabling policy that is youth inclusive, building capacity for our members, and communication, whereby we get to tell the stories for the young people, and also to encourage other young people looking forward to, engage in agriculture. Why we got interested as YPAD to join the consortium is, first of all, two reasons. First of all, we recognized the heterogeneity amongst the youth. We have rural youth, we have urban youth, we have youth who speak different languages, we have youth facing different challenges, they have different needs. Youth are not homogeneous. So, and to air the needs and the needs of these youth, we saw collaboration and connectedness is a key catalyst to that. So that is why we joined forces with IKE and the other organization, CYN, to form the consortium. The challenges that we have identified as YPAD is there's limited engagement of the youth in policy dialogues. And actually the consortium now, the togetherness, is offering that platform. It's like a solution. So actually I would encourage the partners here to really invest, like look into the consortium as a way to reach to the youth, because we as the individual, other organizations saw this consortium as a great platform to bring the youth together. Also, there is insufficient access of knowledge, information, and education amongst the African youth. When you're talking about CADIP, there's this youth in deep roots of Meru. They don't know what CADIP is, yet they are in agriculture. So when we come together as a consortium, we want to cascade these policies downwards and make sure the youth is aware what are the commitments of the Malabo Declaration and how can we as the youth contribute to that. I'm excited and privileged to be part of this conversation, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Sally, for your comments and highlighting what's needed. I'll be coming back to it in a moment. Without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Olarato Sebitla from Southern Africa. Thank you.
A very great evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Olarato Sebitla. I'm from Botswana. I'm the executive coordinator of the CADIP Youth Network Africa. And our organization is advocating for national investments into policy practices that can catalyze youth participation, resilience, energy, and time into agricultural transformation, results, and impact in the continent. This is for one fact why we have agreed to join the CAYACC network, because we realize that through our synergy of skills, expertise, and connection, we really can become a strong one voice in Africa. It has been said throughout the dialogues today that Africa can actually be the food basket of the world. And as CAYACC and its members, we are here to say that we need partners who can actually support us into making this, into making whatever the talks into a reality. So the challenges that we face as the youth in agriculture, or as what we have discovered as we joined CAYACC, as there is lack of coordination in between different youth organizations of agriculture and climate space that we already have. So we have came together to think towards what we can actually put forward, because as my panelist again has also mentioned, that there are youth down the stream and the grassroots who are not able to be here or opportunity to be here today like myself, but they need this information maybe more than I do. And so what the consortium will actually do is to partner and catalyze all the efforts from the consortium and cascade them into a very communicable information to the grassroots level. She has already mentioned we have youth who maybe don't understand English, Swahili, French, and all these other languages. And maybe you'd wonder why I'm using catalyzing, she used catalyzing, the other one cascading. It is actually trying to send the message to you that we can actually break down everything that is within the Africa's agricultural policies to a language that can be easily understood by the youth in agriculture. In that way, we will see more youth being interested to participate into agriculture, because we will be there doing things that we know we have great interest in. Thank you so much.
Please, let's clap for our youth panel. they have bravely articulated the challenges they're facing on the ground around accessibility to funding, accessibility to knowledge and information, not even being called or invited to the policy platforms that exist. Yet we say we are all about inclusion. Yet almost every strategy has include women and youth. And yet we're leaving out the critical voices and not demystifying the language and the information that we have so that it's actually very clear and, as they say, cascaded down to the last mile. So without further ado, I want to invite another very interesting panel to come up and just share with us what they are doing to support youth in the food systems transformation agenda, and also offer some words of advice to our wonderful, energetic youth that are ready to be involved and engaged on so many levels, especially in policy dialogues, and just be able to offer them those words of, not just words of encouragement, but more of advice on how you can work together. We've talked about collaborating, we've talked about joint ventures, how we can work with them to support them on their agenda. So let me welcome Miss Elizabeth Mudogo, who is the Director and Vice Chairperson of Safaricom Sacco Limited. Let's give a big hand. She can join you guys. Next, we would like to also invite Dr. Kofi Amegbeto, Senior Policy Officer of FAO, who will be represented by Coco Senawe. All right, please come up in front, Mr. Coco, thank you. And lastly, we also would like to invite Dr. Mengestab Haile, Regional Director. Oh, sorry about that. So Coco will actually be representing WFP, not FAO. So let's welcome Coco. Thank you. Do we have somebody, Dr. Kofi Amegbeto, Senior Policy Officer, FAO, or his representative? Okay. If not, let's carry on. Thank you so much. I would like to first start with Ms. Elizabeth Mudogo, who, for those who might know, Safaricom is with the private sector, doing a lot of interesting initiatives in Kenya and Eastern Africa. And I would like Ms. Elizabeth to tackle the questions that have been raised by the youth, listening to some of the challenges that they're facing around access to information that can actually be cascaded down to the last mile, to the grassroots. What kind of initiatives are happening and what kind of support can they receive from the private sector to be able to accomplish this kind of goals? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. And it's a pleasure to stand here. As you've heard, Elizabeth Mudogo is my name. I'm standing here in the capacity of Director of Business Development, as well as the Vice Chair of the great Safaricom Sacco. And just for simple terms, in case I forget how to join the Safaricom Sacco, it's online. Just you type, how do I join Safaricom Sacco? And we are now open to even bring in the international entrance. So in my previous job, where I was doing product development for agriculture, and I'll be able to, if you allow me, Madam
moderator, Catherine, is just to give you a simple story. The beautiful thing about not being very many in the room, I want us to get real. And I'll speak about what we've been able to do to get our hands dirty. Having been in these sessions throughout, this is the second day, and we have had a lot of policy, strategy, and all the good things from the old people, the ministers, the vice president, and it looks very nice. So I'll give you a typical example of what we've been able to do just to get our hands dirty, what it exactly means. And the beautiful bit, especially when they talk about joint venture, it's something that I resonate very well. Because part of the platform that I built around the East African region, the insight, when I crack the secret, you get the insight from the real people who are on the ground. What do I mean by this? Half the time, when you look at the policy, we talk about digitization. What is digitization? Please put up your phones. Anyone who has a phone, anyone who has a mobile phone, they all look like smartphones. Who has a QWERTY keypad? The one for tuk, 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 you have to press twice, 3 times. Anyone who has that? Who can comfortably tell me they understand their phone 100%, the features of the phone? The young people here, do you understand your phone 100%? How many, what percentage? 60, 70, 80. The older generation like myself, and who's coming up very quickly, you understand? Messaging, calling, WhatsApp, internet, and limited, very limited access. I don't know what else you know. Do you know Instagram and the rest? Yeah, a little. So at times when they send you some detail, you don't even know what to do. So you have to look for your younger folk or your younger son, and you're accepting to that. So that's the predicament that we come with digitization. How do you create that synergy to bring in the young people, to make it attractive as a way of life to get into what they're going to do? And let me bring it also closer home. I was giving a conversation to the university, USIU. And when I talked about all the documentation and the presentation, so they come back to me at break time, and they, 2 of them, their sister and a brother, and they tell me, you know what? We actually use your platform. Like, oops, I was expecting this is USIU, United States International. You'd have nothing to do with agriculture. And they're like, no. You've given us a platform on USSD. In short, USSD is they're just the short one, star, hash, okay? And you can be able to narrow down. We also have it for the young people on the app. For information, we also have the WhatsApp for business, where you can go in and you have a chat, and you actually chat. And we even made it easier. If you find something on your crop or on an animal, and you're not very particular, you take a picture, and at the back, we have extension officers who are able to respond to you. What have we sorted? We've sorted the difficult part around e-extension service, whom you don't even need to see someone physical coming to your land. You can actually take a picture, and you have an expert. I like when the waziri, we call them in Swahili waziri, the minister, who said he has majority of doctors. So we have the doctors on the platform at the back, where they're able to interpret and give information to the farmers on the spot, and they're able to continue the service. What other information is available? You have access to weather information. And why do I speak confidently about this? Everything that we did to build the platform was insight-led. And the farmer was telling you, all I want weather information. I want to know if 2 days from today, it is going to rain, and what time it's going to rain. So do I engage my workers for a full day? I pay them for free for a full day, or do I engage them half? So what you are able to do is to package that information in a language that he can understand. And one of the success stories I can tell, and we worked with the young man, by then he was a youth, he helped us to break this content in a language they understand. In Kenya, we call it Sheng, a language they understand, and created the dynamic capability such that whatever you read as you as a young person has the same content like what she will be able to read, and someone who's a little bit older, but in a different language, because I'm able to clarify that from a system perspective. So we've been able to create the platform that enables to do the breakdown to the farmers, and they still get the content, and to help them make the decisions on when. When do I plant? Do I start planting now, or do I wait for 2 days? Why? Because it's going to rain tomorrow. You know, very simple terms. And when it comes to other matters like the insurance, I want to be given an assurance. Will I get what I harvested? And you know, it's only maybe, we all depend on God for the rain. So one of the things that we had to put in together is to bring in as many partners, including insurance partners, who are able to walk the journey with us, and we give the farmers a yield insurance to what they're actually looking for. So back to the main question, especially around the young people, I think you've started a very good consortium of first bringing in the youth together. The issues are almost the same in Africa. A lack of information, lack of financing. So you have created a platform where you can bring in many other financiers. They're willing to support, but they want to also be given an assurance that, you know, when we give you the money, you'll not put it under the bed, or you'll not use it on your hair. They want to be given an assurance that you actually put it into the agriculture sense. What are we able to do as partners? As partners, we are able to bring in these buyers and bring in the platform to be able to support and walk the journey with you, so that even for the financial institutions, they have an assurance. There's actually a real farmer whom we have registered, and we know where they are, we know what they're doing, and you can be able to track them along the way. And above all, when the farmer brings in the produce, he can be able to get a check off. The beautiful bit, and I was walking around here at the hotel where I'm staying, I overspent on something, and the taxi actually, and he was asking me to pay him. And I got a little bit perturbed because we don't work with money. Everything is on mobile. So we are there trying to struggle. How do I pay you? From Kenya, we know it as M-Pesa. And he's a very good fan. He keeps talking about that M-Pesa. Everything we do is on M-Pesa. So how do we create that journey to make sure even the young farmer doesn't really, he can have the pace to still go to school and still be able to farm and get an assurance that when you provide a market for me, create information and provide a market for me, I can be able to get decent pay for my produce. And it's a little bit of work that goes in, but one of the things that I have to assure you, it's something that is doable, especially when you get total insights from the young people. And it's very interesting because the people who have remained here pretty much show the confidence that they have. The youth are the leaders of today, not of tomorrow. We are the people who are taking this to the next level. After all these policies and said and done, we have to get our shoes and we have to get our hands dirty to get the hard work done. We have the commitment from the government of joint ventures, and I know you have heard, it was very clear, you can actually come and negotiate. So the how is what is required to create that space where we can come in and they don't need to give us very difficult conditions. Why do I say that? You know, as a young person, I don't have the capital, number one, to be able to do it. How do we reduce some of these instances to make sure even the young person can actually get into that joint venture and be able to get something that's sustainable for themselves now and in the future? Thank you.
Let's clap again for Miss Elizabeth Mudogo. The youth are truly the leaders of today when you think about technology and communication, right? You know, when you asked us how many of us can, you know, some of us are on the 10% percentile where it's the bare minimum that you use your phone for. But without really joking about the matter is, you know, M-Pesa, as much as it's really cutting edge, the youth have really been at the forefront of digital innovation. And if we're not bringing them to the table, to the policy dialogue table, how are we ensuring that we are getting their inputs, their contribution, their skills and talents? How can we harness that to help us ease some of the challenges? We're talking about accelerating trade and establishing partnerships and joint ventures. So let's really reconsider how we not only gather and share information, but how we make that information accessible to everybody in a language that they understand. So thank you so much for that. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Koko Sename from FAO to actually maybe speak more to the issue raised around the fact that youth are not being invited to the table to discuss the issues that affect them. We've got a lot of youth farmers. We've got a lot of young people engaged in agribusiness, yet they're not being invited as key stakeholders to the table to discuss issues that will affect them and the future that they will be leading and continue to lead if we are the futures of today. So please, without further ado, come talk to inclusion and access to funding. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just a small correction. I work for the WFP, World Food Program. FAO is a sister agency. I think this is a very important topic, actually, youth participation in policy or decision-making spaces. And I'm glad that at this event we have our honorable parliamentarians who are with us. It's a bit difficult because sometimes young people go to negotiations with an activist voice. And the older generation doesn't always, or is not always comfortable with that. And when you go like that, then you limit the number of ears that listen to you. So I think if young people want to penetrate a certain level of space or certain space, we all have to learn how to speak the language of people we are speaking to. And if we don't learn that language, we will say a lot of beautiful things, but they will not listen to us as we want them to listen to us. And I know that even in some spaces, when you advocate for young people to come and present their issues, there'll be a lot of questions. What are they going to say? How are they going to say it? And I think that's something that we need to work on to some extent, where sometimes they'll ask you, okay, have you talked to them before they come here? Do they know where they are coming and what is happening here? So I think young people need to move beyond the fact that we are not happy, we are angry and everything. Move beyond that and learn to speak the political language that will help us achieve our goal. The second element is understanding policies. Sometimes we make the same recommendations that are on papers already. While for accountability purposes, what we should push for is the establishment of systems that will allow for the acceleration of the implementation of the agenda that are already put in place. In many conferences now, you'll see the word acceleration. It has become a fancy word. We all like it. Accelerate implementation of A, B, C, D. But the reason why implementation is not being accelerated is because the system is not in place for the activities or the interventions to be implemented. And we need to move beyond just those recommendations to reach a certain level of accountability where we actually point out what exactly is missing and what we want governments or partners to do to actually unlock or catalyze, like they say, the actions that are needed to cascade results down from the top down to the bottom. And it requires a lot of work because beyond talking, we need to be kind of realistic to understand that we live in a complex environment where there are also very competitive issues, either in terms of health, in terms of employment, in terms of education, and so forth and so on. So when you are asking, for example, resources for a certain area of intervention, you need to understand how that is competing with others, including issues of security. Because if countries are busy fighting war and arming themselves for the next or for the anticipated humanitarian situation, there's little that is put in development program. So we need to have a more comprehensive understanding of the environment that we live in and make specific recommendations that will help our government establish the environment and the framework that will allow for the real acceleration of the interventions that we want to see. And then I will stop here by saying that as young people, if I consider myself as young, we represent the majority of the African population in number. And there has been a lot of talk about young people are leaders today, young people leaders tomorrow. I will say young people are leaders today and tomorrow. Because both today we can take action, and as well tomorrow, speaking of Agenda 2063, will be the older generation that will be passing the baton to the younger ones. And in that context, we need to keep that sense of leadership and make sure that we are the one that continue driving results and continue preparing the generation that will keep the torch alive. So for us to get into space, let's learn the language of that space. Let's bring in technicality, and let's also bring in effective contribution so that we can unlock results, catalyze action, and cascade down results. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sename, and apologies for the confusion earlier that you're with FAO, it's WFP. And you reminded me of a song we used to dance to when we were very young, while we're still young. It was called 18 Till I Die. And we thought we would live for, we'll be 18 always, but I think we're always 18 at heart when it comes to passion and energy for the things that matter. So thank you so much. Please, let's give a big hand to this amazing panel. And you've heard the voices of the youth, the things they care about, the things they want to do. You've listened to partners, the things they are doing to partner with them, to catalyze and to cascade change all the way down to the grassroots. So without further ado, let me hand it back to our main moderator, Mr. Emmanuel Gore, to bring us closer to why we're here. Thank you.
A round of applause for Catherine, please. A better one, please. Yeah, she wants to be 18 until she dies. She is, actually. So next we're going to do this. I'm not sure if the tech team have the image that was to be shown right now, but I'd like to invite Ms. Panduleni to join us here. And also in recognizing the presence of honorable members of parliament who stayed to be with us, Honorable Jaso from DRC, sorry, Honorable Jaso from Ghana, Honorable Isube from DRC, from Brazzaville, thank you. And of course, Honorable Jaso from Ghana, Ganda from Malawi. Please also join us here. Let's all stand, please. We just stand and come forward. Can we have that image? Can we have that image on the screen? Very quickly, then we shall remove it and then continue the session. We want to see how best you can use your phones. Yes, there's an image that should be on the screen. I want to see how best you can use your phones. There you go. Now. I think that image over there will be much easier to use considering that we have the chair here. But try and scan that QR code. From wherever you are, scan the QR code. Scan the QR code. I hope you're able to get into the site of the consortium. Yes. So we shall leave that screen after some time, but in the meantime, please get the screen off so that you can have other colleagues joining on Zoom to be able to see what you're about to do right now. So just remove the screen, the image from the screen. So we want to catalyze and cascade, right? Please remove the image. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go back. Thank you very much. So would like to invite Madam Panduleni to officially launch CAYACC. So, Madam Panduleni, please.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, to respect all protocol observed. Happy to officially launch CAYACC at this gathering of today, which is the same day that we are commemorating the Day of African Food and Nutrition Security, 31st October 2023 in Lusaka, Zambia. The consortium is officially launched.
Members of the consortium,
Yes,
come.
please. Members of the consortium, we need one good bold picture here.
Yeah, maybe we can have the picture of the CAYACC logo back, and then we can take a picture here or here. Okay, okay. And on behalf of everybody, the session is officially closed. Thank you very much for attending.